Hello again. Just had this in the mail. This should be a bit of fun. I was looking for a few older processors and I found a nice cheap bundle on eBay of a selection of them. A lot of them are mobile processors, but I do have use for some of them. So I haven't had a look at this yet. I do know what each of them are, I think. So we have, let me get a bit of a closer shot on that. Just a little bit. We have a bunch of various mobile processors. They've got two in the Celerons for the socket, the Pentium 4 socket 478. So what we got? The first one we got is I don't know if it's going to focus on that. These are really hard to see. I can't even see them in this light. Well, it's a Celeron 2.6 GHz from 2002. Prescott from the 478 socket. I mean, I have got a 478 board. I had one of these years and years and years ago, so it'd be interesting to see how, if I remember it correctly, it was just nostalgia, how badly it ran. So I've got 2.6 GHz Celeron, and now this should be a Celeron D. Yeah, Celeron D, 2.8 GHz. Now this is a Northwood, so lower TDP, but still for the socket 478. I mean, these could do with a little bit of a clean, but they look all pretty good. No bent pins, which is always a good sign. We've got something slightly older. We have this is, I believe, a Pentium. Yeah, this is a mobile Pentium III, 600 MHz. I don't have a board for this yet, but I am looking at one at the moment. Focus, damn you. I mean, I've never really used one of these myself. I always had a first laptop I had was just a Pentium M, or Celeron M. Speaking of Celeron M, we have one, right, is that a Celeron M? Yeah, Celeron M, 1.7 GHz I believe. Yeah, oh, what's it say? 1.73. What is that? That is a 1.7, number 478, and a 1.5, both Celerons. Both of a similar age. Not got a board for these yet, but I'll give them a try later. Now we have the only 2-core CPU in this set. Is a T7200 2-core CPU for the socket M. Runs at 2 GHz. Not the best CPU, but for that platform it's not bad. I have a board this can go in, but unfortunately this one has got a few bent pins. Not too bad. Should be able to straighten those out, but we'll see. And now we have another. I think it's 1.7. No, it's not. Yeah, it's 1.7. Also from the 478 mobile, I believe. Or is this another socket M? This might be another socket M actually. Hang on, where's the socket M gone? And then we got a Celeron, which is a mobile Celeron. I do not have a board for this. I should be able to get one. Pins are all good, bit of fluff on it, but it should be fine. This particular one is 2 GHz for the socket S1. Text is so tiny. Once again, I'll post pictures. The camera does not want to focus today. I think it's the lighting outside. And then we have a AMD, I think it's Turion, so I've always said it. Also 2 GHz, 64-bit, also for the S1. Now, these are all, CPUs are all great. Not really why I bought this bundle, but what I bought was from under here, which is, there we go, a lot of socket A and socket 370 chips. One is, as you can see there, socket 7. So let's start with that, I suppose. This is the Pentium MMX. It is a whole 200 MHz. I have a Super Socket 7 board. What could do we get in a Socket 7 board for this chip? See, it's focusing on this one fine. I'm going to have a little play with that. I do like these CPUs. And the state of Intel. This is a Pentium III, I believe. Someone stuck some tape on the back of it for whatever reason. Don't know if this works. It doesn't look the best condition, but it's a 1 GHz Pentium III. And we have... No, that's a Celeron. There we go. Now these should be the same, pretty much. I know. We have a Celeron for the socket 370, running at a whopping 900 MHz. So, once again, similar age to the Pentium III, but much slower. And then we got a 1.3 GHz Celeron. It'd be interesting to see how this performs against the 1 GHz Pentium. I suspect the Pentium will actually come out slightly faster, but it's a 1.3 GHz Celeron. Also for the socket 370. I'll post closer shots of each of these because the focus is driving me nuts. And then we have one of my favourite sockets, socket A. Dealt with a lot of this when I was younger. We got an Athlon 2200, or Athlon XP 2200 Plus, which is actually clocked at, I think, 1.8 GHz. Yeah, they did this thing where they said it was rated at 2.2 when it was actually 1.8, trying to one-up Intel against the Pentium 4s back then. And we got here, I think this is another Athlon. Yeah, another Athlon. I think this is similar to the one before. Ah, no, this is. We'll come back to that one in a minute. That one's quite fun. And here we got a Celeron 2.2, 2200 plus. Same socket as the Athlon, but this one runs at 1.5 GHz. Now they have the same rating, yet the Athlon will run faster. So their marketing was always a bit weird at this point, but still a good CPU. These are very cheap. Dealt with a lot of those, and the Durons, but more the Celerons. Now this is a bit different. Now while it is socket A, is that? No, it's just fine. This is actually an Athlon XP mobile version, rated at 2500 plus, and which runs 1.86 GHz. But it has a TDP of 45 watts, which is kind of what I was after. So I wanted to build a low power socket A machine to see how it performed. That was mainly for Windows 98 stuff. So we'll come back to the CPU in a later video. Finally focus on the last one. But yeah, let's put these back in. So what we got? We got the 1.3 Celeron, the Pentium 4 with apparently some tape on the back. We've got, and then I drop it and break all the CPUs. The Celeron, socket A Celeron, socket A Athlon. No, it's just a bit of crap. And then we got socket A mobile Athlon. Just rearrange it a bit so as you fit. There we go. How to get back in all that? And then we got the Intel MMX. Put that down there. Put the protection back on. Then we have the Intel mobile chips. Pentium III, that'll be fun if I get a board for it. The AMD chips. And the two Celerons, which we'll look at against some proper Pentium 4 Northwoods at some point. But yeah. But there we go. Hopefully revisit these at some point. Tidy that up. And there we go.